Top stories tonight. Third successive bomb explosion rocks Zamfara in 5 days. Kano government berates blockade of Emir Sanusi's palace by security operatives. Police file fresh charges against rights lawyer Dele Farotimi. Less than 24 hours to the general elections. Ghanaians speak on their expectations. Bandits attack a third bomb explosion. And of course, thank you for joining me on tonight's news. I am Dakpo Adigboye. Let's begin by telling you, particularly on security matters, that 2 explosive devices believed to have been planted by bandits went off at separate locations in the Dansadao district of Maru local government area of Zamfara State. The 2 explosions occurred on the road between Dansadao and Malam Mawa, and also another at Malele Road, all in the Dansadao district. Now, Umar Asadu Salisu, a resident of Maru, told News Central that passengers in a truck going to the area weekly market escaped death after the truck loaded with grains ignited the bomb. This is the 3rd explosion in 5 days in the Dansadao Emirate, occurring on Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. Let's also tell you that Amnesty International says the fight against Boko Haram is coming to an end, but it cannot end without justice for the survivors and victims of the years of atrocity. This was when the research and campaign organization presented 115-page report titled Help Us Build Our Lives, Girl Survivors of Boko Haram and Military Abuses, held in Maiduguri, Borno State. Now, News Central's Umaru Kerawa completes the report.
For many girls and young women coming out of Boko Haram, returning to their communities or towns has not been easy. Forced marriage, rape and sexual slavery, among others, are what the girls and women survivors faced. Amnesty International now presents a report which focuses on the experience of girls associated or perceived to be associated with Boko Haram since May 2013.
We believe that there should be empowerment, there should be justice, there should be accountability, whether it is on the side of Boko Haram or on the side of the Nigerian military or whoever. We believe that this conflict can only come to an end when there is justice. Without justice, the conflict will never come to an end.
And what they were requesting was and is government support for education, access to healthcare, and livelihood opportunities.
Amnesty International, in its report, provided recommendations to both Nigerian authorities, the United Nations, and the Boko Haram terrorists.
If you say that Boko Haram crisis is over and over, what do you do with the grievances of these people? What do you do with the families that have lost their breadwinners? Somebody went to the farm, he did not return. Somebody in Burma said that he is going to Maiduguri to buy some things and come back. Since 2011, he has not come back up to now. So the resolution for this kind of people and these girls that we mentioned in our report is justice. They should be empowered, they should be given the care, because they are human beings. And we believe that unless as a country we start to give attention to these things, there is no way we can make progress.
Nigeria's country director of Amnesty International, Isa Sanusi, stated that it has lodged a complaint with the International Criminal Court regarding human rights violations allegedly committed by the Nigerian military and Boko Haram terrorists against conflict victims. Improved awareness to end stigmatization, improved detention facilities of the Nigerian authorities are also some of the recommendations by the Amnesty International report. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kerawa.
Security operatives have taken over the Gidam Rumfa Palace, the official residence of Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II, creating an atmosphere of tension in Kano State. News Central's correspondent in Kano reports that officers of the Nigerian police force have prevented the Emir from attending a stakeholders meeting scheduled to hold in the state. Unconfirmed reports suggest that the incident coincides with plans for the Emir to address a group of economists regarding the contentious tax reform bills. At the time of this report, police vehicles have blocked all entrances to the palace, with no official explanation provided for the heightened security. Authorities are yet to release a statement on the situation. Let's also tell you that in the meantime, the Kano State Government has expressed its profound dismay and deep concern over the reported blockade of the entrance of the Kofa Kudu Palace of the Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, by heavily armed security operatives. This incident occurred as Emir Sanusi urged residents to remain calm and avoid engaging in any actions culpable of causing unrest. Now, speaking on behalf of the State Governor, Abba Kabir Yusuf, the State Commissioner for Information, Baba Aliyu Dantiye, said the unfortunate development has raised tensions and caused distress among the residents of Kano and the surrounding communities. The government reaffirmed its commitment to maintaining peace, stability, and the rule of law across the state. To discuss this, we are joined on the news by teacher of Northern History, Mokhtar Aminu. Thank you for your time, Mokhtar.
Thank you very much.
All right, it's great to have you on the program. Let me just ask your reaction to the developments in Kano State. Pretty much worrisome. What do you make of this, sir?
So actually, what happened in Kano today was as a result of non-compliance with court order. We know that in this 21st century, we have to abide by the rule of law. But the rule of law has not been respected. So there was a court order, a court injunction that restricted the 14th Emir from carrying further activities like the turbaning of district heads and so. So this is as a result of non-compliance with court order.
Now, we also understand that the state government tried in a way to intervene, but I mean, at some point it seemed pretty unclear if at all it was beyond even what the state government could handle. Can you sort of give insight into all of this?
Yeah, actually, nobody is above the law. And the judiciary, the court, rule of law must be respected in this 21st century, as I said earlier. So I think the state governments find it difficult to address the situation because of non-compliance, as I said, of that court order, because it was issued by the Federal High Court and it has not been complied. So this is what is bringing about the dilemma.
All right. Of course, thank you so much for your time on the program, Mokhtar Aminu. Well, in the meantime, Senator Ovie Omo-Agege, the former deputy president of the Senate, is calling for a thorough and transparent investigation into the death of James Boroko, the President General of the Okuama Development Association, who died in military custody. Omo-Agege, who represented Delta Central Senatorial District from 2015 to 2023, condemned the military's handling of the issue, stating that the arrest and detention of the community leaders without trial is illegal. Omo-Agege emphasized that the community leaders, including Pa Boroko, are civilians who should have been tried in civil court. He expressed concerns that the people in the area believe their leader was tortured, leading to his death. The senator urged for an independent investigation to dispel any inaccurate perceptions and ensure justice for all parties involved. Coming up, police file fresh charges against rights lawyer Dele Farotimi. We have details of this and more after now. If you have just joined us, you are watching Tonight. A reminder of our top stories. Third successive bomb explosion rocks Zamfara in 5 days. Kano government berates blockade of Emir Sanusi's palace by security operatives. Police file fresh charges against rights lawyer Dele Farotimi. Less than 24 hours to the general elections, Ghanaians speak on their expectations. Now let's tell you that the Nigerian police has filed fresh charges against human rights lawyer Dele Farotimi over allegations of cybercrime. The police filed 12 fresh counts against Farotimi, according to court documents. He is accused of transmitting false information and harassing individuals online. Farotimi had appeared in court on Wednesday on initial charges. The police action is seen as a move to frustrate his bail application. The lawyer is known for his advocacy for justice and good governance. The case has sparked concerns about freedom of expression in the country. The Nigerian police had arraigned Farotimi before an Ekiti State court over allegations of cybercrime. Let's also tell you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the appointment of chief executive officers for the National Universities Commission and the Nigerian Education Research and Development Council. The president also appointed CEOs for these commissions. CEOs for the Solid Minerals Development Fund and Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Initiatives, and the new Partnership for African Development. Bayo Ononuga, the presidential spokesperson, said in a statement on Friday that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appointed Abdullah Yusuf Ribadu, a visiting professor at the NUC, as the commission's executive secretary. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory has flagged off the construction of an office complex for the body of benches in Abuja. The minister, during a flag-off ceremony in Abuja, says that the key intervention for the judiciary includes provision of office furniture, an initiative not out of place by the federal government aimed at supporting the nation's judiciary performance to perform their functions. News Central's Amadine Uyi tells us more.
It was the flag-off ceremony for the construction and furnishing of an office complex for the body of benchers in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. In attendance were members of the body of benchers comprising retired Supreme Court justices. Some of them commended the minister for his support for the judiciary.
This edifice you are putting up on behalf of the body of benchers will serve other purposes. As retired justices of the Supreme Court, we don't have an address. This will be our address, where we can come and rest, take our meals, drink coffee, and then socialize with our other retired justices. We thank you very much for what you have done.
The body of benchers is very grateful to His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and the Chief Executive of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for approving the initiative of the Honorable Minister for the FCT, His Excellency Eze Wike, Live Bencher, CON, for interventions or provisions of basic infrastructural facilities in the Nigerian Law School, in the body of benchers and judiciary.
You are not just a patriot, you are a lawyer. You are not just a lawyer, you are a member of this body of benchers.
The minister Nyesom Wike cleared the air over allegations of trying to influence the judiciary, saying that the gesture by the executive is not uncommon.
As we speak today, it is the Federal Capital Territory that is providing the official residence of the legislature. That is a different arm of government, but it is the FCT that is providing their residence. As we speak today, it's the FCT that is building the new complex of the National Assembly. That has nothing to do with interference of the arm of government.
He commended President Bola Tinubu for his support for approving requests to provide infrastructure for the nation's judiciary.
I want to sincerely thank Mr. President for each time you talk about what can enhance the legal profession. He has always given that support. So I want to thank him for that, and I know, and like you said, you have requested for a fire service station. Let me just say this clearly. I've called the Director of Engineering that should make sure that that is provided in a 2025 budget.
The minister also informed those present that more projects will be flagged off as part of his contribution to the development of the third arm of government. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
The British Deputy High Commissioner, in collaboration with the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, in commemoration of 16 days activism, has emphasized the importance of gender inclusion in ending gender-based violence in the country. They believe the rejection of harmful masculinities and the promotion of mindful men are essential steps to fighting the surge. News Central's Omolola Ololade tells us more.
Educating boys about consent, respect, and healthy relationships is the start to equipping the male child to challenge harmful behavior and attitudes. In the fight against gender-based violence, the British Deputy High Commissioner and the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency brought together schoolboys from different schools across the state to discuss the root causes and consequences of GBV.
Many of the causes of gender-based violence are about culture, they're about norms. And in order to change culture and norms, we need the whole of society to think about what that culture is, to think about what those norms are, and that includes boys and young men. And I think it's high time that we bring them into the discussion. We help them think about the way that their behavior can change. The
schoolboys, however, participated in a mentorship program with the King's Club, a subsidiary of Lagos State's Domestic and Sexual-Based Violence Agency, created to train young boys on the need to take proactive actions against gender-based violence.
It's an opportunity for us to engage primary and secondary school students, young boys, on these issues, leveraging our curriculum, which we designed in partnership with the Ministry of Education, engage boys on critical issues such as sexual and gender-based violence, sexual and reproductive rights and health, promoting positive masculinity, anger management, grit, tenacity and resilience, with the hope that as they grow up with this new information, there will be a change in behavior.
While there is so much attention on the schoolboys, the Lagos State Government says plans are underway to involve boys who are also out of school.
In the ministry, we continuously rescue kids off the street. Some of them that we see that are able to be rehabilitated, we take them to our homes, rehabilitate them, and some of them, and after that we either integrate them back with their families or hand them over to our Ministry of Education to see if they can be educated.
The parent is going to know the capacity of his child and what his child is good at and not.
While the boys agreed the mentorship program was a learning curve for them, the mentors emphasized the role of parents and the entire community in building responsible boys and men for the future.
Parents, focus on your children as well. The other thing that to me is important for parents to do is create an enabling environment.
Even though men remain a large part of the problem, They also fall victim of GBV, hence the need to continually equip them with the trainings to prevent and combat gender-based violence. In Lagos for News Central, I am Omolola Ololade.
Still ahead, less than 24 hours to the general elections, Ghanaians speak on their expectations. We have details of this and more after now. Many thanks for staying with us. On December 7th, nearly 19 million registered voters across Ghana will head to the polls in the country's 9th general election since returning to multi-party democracy in the early 1990s. Over 30 years, Ghana has built its reputation for holding peaceful elections that always a tight race, followed by an orderly transition of power. Now, for News Central, international correspondent Afia Hagen asked voters about their expectation of this election.
Ghana's hotly contested general election is upon us. Now, citizens are being asked to choose between 13 candidates, with the NPP and NDC flag bearers Muhammadu Bawumia and John Mahama emerging as the frontrunners.
The economy is weighing heavily on voters' minds. Ghanaians were hit particularly hard in the pocket by the global bout of inflation beginning in early 2022 that saw prices rise in the country at their fastest rate for more than 2 decades.
Because since 2016, our country has changed. The things are costing. Even today, I'm a market myself. Onion, since 3 days today, I'm going to buy onion 1 bag. They say 3,500. But 2016, if the onion cost season like this, is 600 Ghana cedis. But today, the onion is 3,500. Tomatoes, 1 box is 3,500. We can't afford this country, so we need change to come.
The country's economic difficulties have been accompanied by a steadily rising unemployment rate. As a result, more people have been pushed into poverty and living standards have suffered.
In terms of employment, because the more there is no employment, the more the social vices increase, like stealing, criminal activities and co. Yeah. So I believe they will do something to help the youth. And also, one thing I'm expecting from the government is that there are a lot of policies in place and laws in place that are not working.
For Ghanaians, this election has to mark a turning point.
What I want is we have to move forward. We are breaking the 8. Yes, it's possible.
Best candidates win. Somebody that at the end of the day would think about Ghana.
With less than 24 hours to go until people cast their votes, it seems that change really is the buzzword on everybody's lips. So let's see if Ghanaians get that change they feel they so desperately need. For News Central, I'm Afia Hagen in Accra.
Still on the election, it's just hours before Ghanaians head to the polls to elect the nation's next leader. And the excitement is palpable across the country. In Kumasi's bustling Asafo market, traders are optimistic and eager to cast their votes. News Central's Bernard Akede visited the market to gauge the mood ahead of this critical election.
Here at Asafo Market in Kumasi, traders are in high spirits as they prepare to exercise their civic duty. Many believe their votes will shape the next 4 years in Ghana.
Oh, it's important for me to vote because we need to change things. We need someone who is going to help us. So I need to vote and vote for the one I want so that he can be the president and help me with my needs.
The market is buzzing not just with trade, but also with political discussions. Traders here, many of whom support the ruling New Patriotic Party, say Ghana's economic challenges are part of a global crisis and should not be blamed solely on local policies.
The economic crisis is not only in Ghana. The economic crisis is
it's all over the whole country, like Europe, Asia, and everywhere. There's an economic crisis there. So you shouldn't say that it's NPP party and Baumia or whatever that makes the economy high. Yeah, that's what he said.
Despite pockets of enthusiasm, voter apathy remains a challenge in many African countries. Ghana's Electoral Commission reports that over 18.7 million voters are registered, and if a majority turn out, it could significantly impact the outcome.
It is important that we choose our future. We should be part of the choice. Everybody needs to be part of the election. You should vote. Don't let other people come and decide for you. Be part of the decision making.
With all preparations complete, the stage is set for Ghanaians to make their voices heard. Now, it is up to the ballots to determine who will lead the nation for the next 4 years. In Kumasi for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
News Central's correspondent Bernard Akede joins us live from Kumasi to give an update on the preparation ahead of tomorrow's crucial election. Bernard, it's great to have you on the news. Of course, just to give a bit of an overview, 13 presidential candidates, but 2 major ones. That's the current Vice President, Muhammadu Sanusi of the New Patriotic Party, and also John Mahama, a former president, National Democratic Congress. We know that about 18 million plus registered voters and 40,000 polling stations. What is it looking like for tomorrow?
Well, thank you for having me, Dakwa. It's looking pretty exciting. And from where I stand, I'm beginning to see that, I mean, I'm no soothsayer or fortune teller, but I'm beginning to see that it may just be a close call. And that's because both major candidates are quite familiar with Ghanaians, and Ghanaians familiar with them. Like you clearly stated, the incumbent vice president is running. One would think that he may be the favorite because he's currently in office. And then you have John Mahama Dramani, who's been the president before, who ran for 4 years, is a friend of Nigeria. He visits Nigeria quite a lot. Now, I think the polls is going to be, divided between both of them. Now, the day before, or rather yesterday, when we got here, we got to several places, and a lot of people we spoke to it seemed like they were leaning towards Mahama. But today, it seemed like most of the people we went to speak to were leaning towards Bahumia in that particular market we went to. So I think it's split, along the center between both of them. It's just the polls that will tell. But from what we've been able to gather, it's looking like the polls will be peaceful. I do hope they'll be peaceful. And it's looking like Ghanaians will come out in their numbers. And I also do hope that that will happen. I mean, across Africa, we've seen too many cases of voter apathy in many elections that we've seen in the past 2 years. And I'm hoping that will come to an end with Ghana's election.
I mean, just a quick one. Talking about voter apathy and participation ahead of tomorrow, I mean, from the reports that we have, we can see that at least in many areas there seems to be some level of excitement. But looking at the number of registered voters compared to maybe the adult population in the country, would you say that indeed there is, in terms of engagement, looking at those figures, is that really reflective?
Yeah, I think so. Now, just before this report, I was going through the records, and there's a website I was looking at, and that website has affiliations to United Nations. Now, it gave Ghana's total population as of December 2024 to be about 34 million plus, if I'm not mistaken. And if you have over 18 million from that number registered, it means slightly over 50% of the entire population are registered voters. Now, if we have a good number of that number actually turn out to vote, then it means that there's a good representation of Ghanaians coming out to choose their leader. As regards what we've seen in several African countries, case in point Nigeria, where we had very few number of people who were registered and even fewer coming out to vote. I think in total, those who cast their vote in Nigeria were less than clearly less than 10 million, and that means that a very small fraction of Nigerians decided for the generality of Nigerians who will be ruling the country for the next 4 years. In Ghana, if we have
positive turnout based on these numbers we're seeing, the case is going to be different. It means that a good number of Ghanaians have decided who will rule their country in the next 4 years. So again, I'm hoping that voter apathy will not be a cause for conversation after the election, and if at all it will be, we'll be, swinging our pendulum of people casting their votes to the positive side as against the negative.
All right, thank you so much for the update, Bernard. Definitely we'll keep in touch. Also joining us on the news to discuss this election is Global Affairs Analyst Paul Ejime. Thank you for your time, Paul.
Thank you for having me.
All right, great. Let me just get into it. Now, two major contenders out of the about 12, 13 is the current Vice President, that's Mahamudu Bawumia, and also we have John Mahama. Now, my question is this. Both of them seem to have a political history. Now, the NPP is hoping to have a third consecutive term through, of course, the current VP who is the presidential candidate. And then for John is looking to have a second term through this election in office. This, in a way, is pretty much historic, don't you think?
That this what? I didn't quite get it, the question. That this did what?
Could this election, could we be looking at history in the making of some sort via this election?
Yes, there is a first in Ghana in so many ways. By the way, the two of them are from the north, and for the first time in Ghana's history. And for the first time, Ghana is also having two candidates of different faiths. Mahama is a Christian, and Bahimwa is a Muslim. And it is also the first time Ghana coming out of a hung parliament. That is where none of the parties controls the parliament. Parliament of 276 members. It was 275, now one has been added. So that led to the opposition producing the Speaker of Parliament, and that has its problems. So these are some of the new uncharted course that Ghana has to tread. And for instance, the Parliament has gone on an indefinite adjournment. Reason being that the Speaker wanted to evict 4 people who had crossed, carpet, have changed their, they wanted to become independent, but the Supreme Court waded in and said, no, Speaker, you don't have such authority. So it's it could create a problem in the fact that it is Parliament that will approve the budget that will be used for the transition. By the way, if none of the two or none of the candidates gets 50 plus 1, they will go into runoff in 3 weeks' time. That is 21.
We seem to have, okay. By
7th of January.
All right. Just before I let you go.
Almost end by 7th of January when a new president will be inaugurated.
All right.
By 7th of January. So whatever it is they're doing, yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Just before I let you go in 30 seconds, there are issues. Unemployment, health, the education sector. I mean, critical issues that affect Ghanaians. How do you think this will influence their decision tomorrow?
I think they would. These are issues that are featuring in the campaigns. Unemployment, particularly among the youths. There is education. There is corruption. And, insecurity too, because you have violent extremism from, the Burkina Faso border with Ghana. And then the fact that there is a fear that some politicians might want to import or use terms that they call vigilantes So there is a problem of vigilantism, even though government had come out with a law against that since 1999. But they are saying that perhaps they have gone underground, that it could also resurrect. But there is all seems calm, and one hopes it's not calm before the storm. But Ghana has a tradition of running, peaceful election, even though in 2020, 8 people died. They are saying that it's not, that wouldn't happen again.
All right.
But they have done this election cycle for 9 years, 9 times.
All right.
For over 30 years. And they hope that they will also cross the, cross the line with peacefully.
All right.
With peaceful transition.
All right. Thank you so much, Paul Jime. Thank you once again for your time. Let's join our business desk for today's update.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
In business, the Nigerian Senate has passed a bill seeking to make it a crime to export large quantities of unprocessed corn in an effort to alleviate hunger in the West African nation. Documents seen on Friday have shown Africa's most populous country is grappling with its worst cost of living crisis in a generation. Economic hardship has worsened since President Bola Tinubu started austerity reforms, including devaluing the country's currency and ending decades-old petrol subsidy, fueling inflation. Corn is a staple in Nigeria that is also used for animal feed, drinks, and processed flour. The United States Department of Agriculture forecast a rise in Nigeria's 2024-2025 corn exports to 75,000 metric tons from its 2023-2024 estimate of 50,000 metric tons. In Southern Africa now, South Africa's rand was steady on Friday after the release of U.S. jobs data, which increased bets of an interest rate cut by the Federal Reserve later this month. At 15:07 GMT, the rand traded at 18.0075 against the US dollar, not far from its previous close. US non-farm payrolls increased by 227,000 jobs last month after rising an upwardly revised 36,000 in October. Like other risk-sensitive currencies, the rand often takes direction from global factors such as US economic data in addition to local drivers. Domestically, South Africa's net foreign reserves fell to $60.61 billion at the end of November from $61.197 billion in October, central bank data showed on Friday. On the stock market, the top 40 index closed 0.1% higher. And on the foreign scene, investors raised their bets on the prospects of a U.S. interest rate cut this month after payrolls data showed job growth came in roughly in line with expectations in November, while the euro was flat versus the dollar as political turmoil gripped France. Futures markets put an 87% chance on the U.S. Federal Reserve cutting rates by 25 basis points at its next meeting on December 17 to 18 after the payrolls data, compared with a 68% chance earlier in the session. And that's all offering on business news at this time. Thank you for watching. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. The news continues shortly.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
Up next is sports.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
In the world of sport, the National Sports Commission Chairman, Madam Shehu Diko, has expressed his delight with the recent achievement of Nigeria's Squash Federation. Nigeria's Ayomide Oladipupo emerged the champion in the Namibian Open Division for men, while Gabriel Oluwafumilayo took home the bronze medal in the BDO tournament. The under-19 age category also made a strong impression, winning several medals and causing upsets in their matches. The Nigerian squash team is also competing at the 2024 WSF World Squash Team Championship in Hong Kong from the 9th to the 15th of December. Diko assured the Federation of the NSC's morale and financial support and reiterated the Commission's commitment to supporting the Federation, including exploring opportunities for sponsorship and collaboration with other federations. The Handball Federation of Nigeria has made plans to honor and celebrate members of the first senior men and women handball national teams at the grand finale of the ongoing Handball Premier League 2024 Phase 2 in Lagos. According to the president of the federation, Samuel Ocheo, the federation decided to honor the players for setting the pace and laying the building blocks for Nigerian national handball teams, as well as serving their country honorably. Recipients of the award include players who were in the national handball team that participated in the handball event of the 1973 All-African Games in Lagos, Nigeria, the 1978 All-African Games in Algiers, Algeria, where the country also finished 5th in the first women's handball event at the Games, following their historic victory over Egypt. Players who competed at the 1977 ECOWAS Games in Lagos and the 1979 African Men's Handball Championship held in Brazzaville will also be honored. The African Development Bank, AFDB, have announced plans to lend Morocco £650 million to enhance its transportation infrastructure in preparing for the 2030 FIFA World Cup. AFDB President Akinwumi Adesina stated that the financing proposal focused on upgrading Morocco's rail and airport systems will soon be presented to the bank's board for approval. As part of a joint bid with Spain and Portugal, Morocco will co-host the 2030 World Cup, becoming only the second African nation to host the tournament after South Africa in 2010. Fauzi Lecture, Minister Delegate and Chairman of the 2030 World Cup Committee, presented an update on Morocco's progress. Under pressure, West Ham manager Julien Lopetegui says he and his team are going to change the situation at the struggling club. The Spaniard's future was debated by senior club figures after Tuesday's 3-1 defeat to Leicester City. The Hammers are 14th in the Premier League table and have won just one of their last 5 games as they go into Monday's home game with second bottom Wolverhampton Wanderers. West Ham fans have been frustrated at the team's playing style under Lopetegui, who took charge in May. The Hammers have won 4 and lost 7 of their 14 league games so far this season. And that's it in the world of sport. I am Onyinyechi Obaro.
Sports Update, brought to you by Kano Oil. Kano Oil, we go the extra mile.
Up next is entertainment.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Tonight on Entertainment News, Mawuli Ekpepita, a former vice chairman of Ghana's New Patriotic Party (NPP) in Hieso, has alleged that actress Mercy Asiedu lost out on a $2 million grant for her Kunsu Film Village project due to her refusal to submit a proposal. Speaking on the matter, Ekpepita explained that Mercy Asiedu's Film Village was identified as a promising option for the Ghanaian government's planned Film Village project post-COVID-19. The government, under the leadership of Creative Arts Minister Barbara Oteng Gyasi, reportedly reached out to Asiedu asking her to submit a proposal to secure the grant. However, Asiedu allegedly declined. Ekpepita stated Nana Addo wanted to build a film village and there was a lot of confusion about where it would be located. Since Mercy Asiedu had already established a film village in Kunsu, we thought it made sense to invest in her project instead of starting from the scratch. The alleged grant opportunity came during a period when the government provided financial support to the arts and entertainment sector as part of post-pandemic recovery efforts. According to him, external influences may have discouraged Asiedu from accepting the offer. The opportunity reportedly faded when Ibrahim Awol replaced Oteng Gyasi policy as Creative Arts Minister, shifting the government's priority. Ekpe Peter criticized actors who support former President John Dramani Mahama, claiming that the current NPP administration has provided more meaningful support to the creative sector. Dolly Parton has announced an open casting call for her forthcoming Broadway musical. Dolly invited fans and performers to audition to portray the legendary country singer. Sharing the news via an Instagram video, she encouraged aspiring stars from all backgrounds to join the project. The search aims to find performers who can embody Parton's spirit and journey. The show will highlight Parton's music, life, and the remarkable people who have shaped her story. Interested participants can submit auditions online at dollymusic.com and are encouraged to share their audition tapes on social media using the hashtag #SearchForDolly. Finalists will have the opportunity to audition in person with the musical's casting director. That's all on Entertainment News.
Entertainment News in association with Glow Unlimited.
And that's a wrap tonight. But before we go, another look at our top stories. We told you that third successive bomb explosion has rocked Zamfara in 5 days. Kano government has berated blockade of Emir Sanusi's palace by security operatives. Police have filed fresh charges against rights lawyer Dele Farotimi. We also told you that less than 24 hours to the general elections, Ghanaians have spoken on their expectations. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Apple TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Dakpo at Digboy. Good night.